Hello.
Hello.
Your wife said I could find you here.
You sent a girl as pretty as you to my study? Either she trusts me a lot or she doesn't give a damn.
I'm Marjorie White from the Time Syndicate.
Well, hello, Marjorie.
Hello. May I sit down?
Of course you can sit down. If you lie down, we can have more fun.
Well, I've been assigned to do a story on Groucho Marx, the family man.
Well, lie down and I'll show you how I became a family man.
Are you this funny with your wife?
Yes, I am, but she doesn't know about it. You see, my wife's like a lot of women, no sense of humor.
Well, maybe that's because most of your jokes insult women.
Well, women should be insulted. It keeps them humble.
Don't you think men could learn a little humility, too?
Well, that's what women are for. They're experts at finding the faults of a man and constantly reminding him of them. But then men do the same thing to women. Maybe it's good that they insult each other, because if they keep on doing it, their pride will go. And so will the battle of the sexes. Men and women could wind up loving each other.
You really have a rather unique way of expressing yourself.
Is that so? Well, then I should have listened to what I just said. In the meantime, I'll keep insulting women because it keeps them in their place. That is, if they don't want to come to my place. And if they come to my place, they better stay in the kitchen and the bedroom.
Oh, no, don't tell me you're from the Keep Them Barefoot and Pregnant school.
Well, I tried to get into that school, but I couldn't pass the physical. As far as I'm concerned, women should be obscene and not heard.
You sound like you're a really firm disciplinarian.
Well, you have to be when you raise kids. I remember when Arthur was young, he came in one day and he asked if I'd buy him a BB gun. I said, young man, I don't believe in guns. When he insisted, I said, look, as long as I'm the head of the house, we'll have no guns. He said, if I had a gun, you wouldn't be head of the house.
Have you read all these books?
I've not only read them all, I've written a few. Here's my latest one.
Oh. Beds. How did you happen to write a book about beds?
Well, don't you realize that the most important things in life happen in bed? You're born in bed, you die in bed, you have crackers and milk in bed, and your wife gets a headache just before you come to bed. I wrote that book one night when I was lying awake with insomnia. Insomnia and I are old friends.
Oh, well, what causes your insomnia?
Well, I think it's mostly not sleeping.
Did you ever go to an analyst?
Yes, I did. My insomnia got so bad I had to go to one. Well, he was boring as hell, but he couldn't put me to sleep.
Groucho, tell me about your early days in film.
Well, if there's one thing I hate to talk about, it's myself. But I guess you forced me into it. Now, our first two movies were Animal Crackers and Coconuts. We made them at a studio on Long Island, and they were both big hits.
Then you came to Hollywood.
That's right, we came to Hollywood. We made Monkey Business, Horse Feathers, and Duck Soup. They were funny, but practically nobody went to see them.
Well, there must be an explanation for that.
All right, what is it?
I mean, you must be able to explain it.
Well, yes, I can. Coconuts and Animal Crackers were tried and proven Broadway shows. Now, if the jokes don't work on Broadway, you replace them. If the jokes don't work in the movies, the studio replaces you. Which is what happened. Paramount dropped our option.
Then I guess you could say Duck Soup was your swan song.
Well, you've just lost your sexual attraction.
You're not going to hold that against me, are you?
No, but I got something I'd like to hold against you. You know, the Marx Brothers were not everybody's cup of tea. Well, since we had no more movie careers and our radio show was canceled, I took off for a summer of roughing it in Skowhegan, Maine. My wife and two kids. I sent Chico to Hollywood. His assignment was to find work for the Marx Brothers. I told him not to call unless he had something to say. Well, after 2 months in Maine, the phone finally rang. Oh, maybe it's Chico. Hello?
Hey, Julie, it's me.
Well, after 2 months, you finally got something to say.
Yeah, what's the new?
You call me 3,000 miles to ask me what's the new?
Hey, Julie, I was playing cards with Irving Thalberg.
Irving Thalberg, the big movie producer?
Yeah, he says he wants to discuss a 2-picture deal and he wants to meet for lunch.
Well, tell him I don't want meat for lunch.
Hey, Julie, do me a favor. Stop kidding around and get out here, okay? And I hope he makes it a quick.
I'm coming as fast as I can. Ah, yes, beautiful L.A., Tinseltown, Hollywood, the famous Brown Derby restaurant. Excuse me, young man, I have a luncheon date with Mr. Irving Thalberg. Yes, I will. Well, hello, how are you? Good to see you again, yeah. JV, nice to see you, nice to see you. Oh, hi, how are you? Yes, I'm having lunch with Thalberg today. I hope your career goes better. Mr. Thalberg, how are you? You'd like to see a wine list? Mr. Thalberg, I'm Groucho Marx. I'm having lunch with you. You'd still like to see a wine list. Well, Thawley, I admire a producer with a sense of humor. What's that? You're going to tell me why our last 3 movies didn't work? We have no appeal to women. Is that so? Well, I appeal to women all the time. Often on bended knees. Oh, is that so? And you think you're going to tell me what to do? Is that so? Oh, really? Well, you can't tell me what to do, Thalberg. Forget about it. No one talks to me like that. Well, Thalberg was the only man in Hollywood who could talk to me like that. And he knew exactly what he was talking about. First of all, I had taken Chico's piano solos and Harpo's harp solos out of our last 3 movies. Thalberg put them back. He also put back Margaret Dumont. And he came up with a revolutionary idea in comedy filmmaking. He let us try out our comedy scenes on the road before we brought them into the movie studios. To show you how important this was, when this scene first appeared in the movie script, all it said was Groucho, Harpo, and Chico do some funny things in a small stateroom. After 6 weeks on the road, we found out what those funny things were. Well, that first movie for Irving Thalberg was called The Night at the Opera. And it was a big hit. Thank you. Now, some people say it was the songs and the dancing. Some people say it was a comedy. I say it was because Zeppo wasn't in it. You see, Zeppo had become a Hollywood agent. The no talent had found his true calling. Well, after A Night at the Opera, we made A Day at the Races. And I got my big wish. I played a doctor, Dr. Hugo Hackenbush. A Day at the Races was Chico's favorite movie. You see, it took place in a racetrack. Would you believe that even though we read the script and we all knew how the horse race scene would turn out, Chico still bet on the wrong horse? Well, A Day at the Races was a big hit also, and our careers at Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer were finished. That's what I said. A Day at the Races was a big hit, and our careers were finished with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. It was all my fault. You see, while we were riding high with Irving Thalberg, I insulted the head of the studio, Louis B. Mayer. See, Mayer came down to the set one day, and he said, "How's the movie going, Groucho?" I said, "What business is it of yours?" I said, "Why are you disturbing us on the set? And from here on in, please try to stay out of the commissary when we're having lunch. We'd rather not look at you when we eat." We're working for Irving Thalberg. Well, 2 days later, Irving Thalberg died, and we were working for Louis B. Mayer. Now, nobody wanted me. I was 57 years old, and I couldn't get a job. I reached that point in life when I realized what a great invention sitting down was. I had reached middle age. Middle age is when you wake up in the morning and you hope you're going to feel better. Old age is when you go to bed and you hope you wake up in the morning. I ran into Bob Benchley the other day, and we started discussing our various infirmities. I asked Benchley how he felt now that he'd reached his 50s. He told me he felt fine except for an occasional heart attack. Jack Benny confided in me at Hillcrest that at his age, sex gave him motion sickness. That's what he said. He said, Groucho, sex gives me motion sickness. You know how he talks. I had always envied Jack Benny. He had a successful radio show, and I never did. Not only that, but he had Mary Livingston. I never had Mary Livingston. Benny was a very talented performer, but he was lucky. You see, luck is a very important part of show business. Well, then again, we were lucky, too. If Alexander Woollcott hadn't reviewed us the night Alsatia is open, we would have been reviewed by some third-string critic and might have never become the Marx Brothers. And if Chico hadn't played cards with Irving Thalberg, well, we never would have got to make a night at the opera. Just as I was about to give up, in the twilight of my career, luck struck again. Well, you look familiar.
Well, maybe that's because my mother interviewed you 30 years ago.
Are you the result of that interview?
Well, I'm a writer, too, and I would love to write a book about you, if I could get your permission.
Well, if I could get your permission, we won't waste time on a book.
You haven't changed. You're exactly the way my mother described you.
Well, that's not true. I'm 87 years old now. The gold in my teeth is worth a considerable amount of money. Now I'm called a living legend.
Oh, you certainly are. Who first called you that?
I think I did.
A young lady let me in. Was that your new wife?
No, it wasn't. I've sort of given up on marriage. I'm just shacking up now.
What do you feel was responsible for your last 3 divorces?
Well, I think it was my last 3 marriages.
I imagine you must have a lot to say about love and marriage.
Oh, yes, I do. First of all, I don't see how men and women have the courage to face each other over the breakfast table after what they've been doing together all night long.
That was George Bernard Shaw. He wrote that in one of his prefaces.
Yes, it was Shaw. I only steal from the best.
Groucho, do you think that men and women